Okay, so come back to the Study with Rats channel, and now we are going to understand about the types of communication. Earlier, we have been understood about the communication, and now we are going to understand about the types of communication. Okay, so uh, here here we are that there are the four types of communications. Okay, that four types are: first will be your form, second will be your level, third will be your flow, and fourth will be your silence. Okay, the thing is that um, we having such forms of communication, we having such levels of communication, we having some flow of the communication, and the silence. Okay, will remain the silence. So that means if someone is remain to be silent, that means to giving a legally exception, like to giving the legally permission to someone that yes, it is right, you can do it. Okay, so simply the silence means that you are giving the legally permission to them that yeah, it is correct, you can do that. Okay, so in silence, the type of communication, the fourth form is silence. So it is nothing, just to giving a legal exceptional, like legally permission. Okay, like accepting it that yeah, you are correct, I am wrong. Okay, that means silence means to giving a legally permission to someone that you are correct, you can do it, you had the permission to do it. Okay, clear the silence. Now coming back to the form, levels, and flow. Okay, so basically, firstly, the forms of communication we have. So we have the two forms of communication, verbal and non-verbal. As you all know that हमारे पास टू फॉर्म्स की कम्युनिकेशंस होते हैं. फर्स्ट इज योर वर्बल, सेकंड इज योर नॉन वर्बल. Verbally means whenever we used to speak something, like I'm speaking, and by my thoughts I am sending, and I am trying to convey my thoughts and my information towards you all. So that is known as verbal communication. While I'll speak something, I'll want to convey something, some information to you, and you are getting it. So that is known as verbal communication. Okay, non-verbal communication means while there is none of the words, while I am doing some action, I am showing you something, I am using number of body language, gestures, and number of symbols and all, that is known as non-verbal, in which we doesn't use the type of words in non-verbal communication. We just only use the actions, are we only use the emojis, symbols, signs, graphs, and all those things to explain our information to someone. Okay, that means in non-verbal we didn't use any of the words to explain our emotions and thoughts. Okay, getting my point? You have been understood about that there will be only two forms, verbal and non-verbal. In verbal, you just use the number of words or information, like words and statements, to convey your information to other person. In non-verbal, you don't use any of the words or statements, you just only use uh, the sign, symbols, or the body language, which means gestures, to express or to convey your thoughts or emotions to someone. Okay, so there is a basic difference between the verbal and non-verbal communication. Okay, coming back to the now you have been understood about verbal and non-verbal. Okay, now coming to the verbal communication. In verbal communication, there is also a two parts. First is oral, second is written. Oral communication is a type of communication which orally used to convey. सिर्फ हम बोलकर जब trying to convey some information to the person, to the second person, then it is known as oral communication. Okay, written communication means when the person is used to conveying the information or thoughts to second person, to that receiver, uh, while in written, then it is known as written communication. And majorly written communication is uh, mainly occupied in the official communication or formal communication. While you are sending or you are complaining to someone or to the government or to any of the of that department, So you always used to write the letter, always used to write the application to that kind of department, right? You can't be do the oral communication in that. You only have to do the written communication in that, because the number of sciences also has been required, है ना? So at that time you should have to require the written communication, right? And oral should be informal communication. मतलब mostly oral communication is mostly being required in informal type of communications, okay? Which means हम while we are talking with our family, friends, relatives, so we can use oral communication. Written should be occupied in the legally cases, like in official or in the formal cases. You must be required the written communication, okay? Coming back to the non-verbal, as I've told you all, you do not using any of the words, okay? While you, in spite of using body languages and all that things, that was known as the non-verbal communication. Non-verbal is also having the two types: visual and visual and gestures, okay? Visual, what do you mean by visual? Visual means which you can see only, जो आप देख सकते हो, that kind of communication. So, signs, symbols, and signals. What do you mean by sign? What do you mean by sign? Sign is also a type of language, but it can be created by a man. It can be created by a man. Sign. If signs are the language, and also it can be created by a man. That is known as signs. Like कुछ भी आप लोगों ने create कर दिया खुद से, उसको कहते हैं sign. Symbol. What do you mean by symbol? हाँ? A particular symbol that can be spoken about or associated for something, that is known as symbol. You can get to know about that red mark. You can get to know about that the red mark, like it will be a circle and cross over it, so that means it will be danger. It is dangerous. You don't have to go ahead these lines or behind these lines or behind these boundaries. So symbols means you don't have to move behind these boundaries, okay? That red mark, okay? Symbol means the particular symbol is talking about something, some action, that is known as symbol. Or sign means that if the person has been created by itself for a particular period of time, that was known as sign, okay? Sign is also held about that not for a particular time period, or symbol is about a particular time period or for a particular action, okay? That is known as symbol. Now we are talking about the signal. So as a very best example of the traffic rules, or also about the traffic lights, when the signal means that in the ancient period of times, when we are using many of the signals, okay, that if there's a if any of the ceremonies is gone started, so the drum beats is also has been played, and the number of that red, green, or yellow, as you all know very well. So you had to be follow according to it. So that was known as signals. So I hope that you all understand about the signs, symbols, and signals also. Now I'm going to explain you about the gestures. Gestures means basically about bit of the body language. While we using our body language, our actions, to expressing our emotions and thoughts to other person, to conveying our thoughts and emotions to other persons, while using the body language, that was known as gestures. That's it. Okay. Now coming back to the level. What do you mean by level? Internal and external levels. Okay. We have been done all with the forms. Okay. Now it is a term.